The best, worst podcast you've ever heard. And now, The Ronnie and Bo Show, brought to you by Prescott Realty.
It's The Ronnie and Bo Show, and boy, you know, we talk about firsts, and this is a first.
This is a first. This is land breaking.
Yes.
Groundbreaking
Too.
Yes, and so because we have our very first guest.
Oh, this is so exciting. Do you remember when
in the studio?
Do you remember when we got our very first sponsor? How excited we were?
Yes.
We're equally excited.
Yeah,
We
are.
It's so exciting. So this Ronnie and Bo Show brought to you by Prescott Realty. You can catch him at PrescottRealty.com or give him a call at 928-851-4500.
Right. They've got 2 offices to serve you downtown Prescott and in Williamson Valley. They've just got an amazing team of specialists that will help you either with the buying or the selling or both. So give them a call.
I'm looking at you across the table while you're saying that, and I'm thinking, are you intimidated that we have our first guest?
I do. I am actually.
We're a little
because she's actually sitting right here.
And you know what? I can feel that you and I are a little more tight because we want to do so well. We want to do so well. And
there's something I call a butt clinch moment.
No, I wouldn't. I said tight. I said tight.
Well, that's what made me
This is
think
family
of it.
friendly.
And now that we have an actual professional here, you're a professional. I'm the low man on the totem
now you're
pole
feeling nervous.
Again,
and I'm feeling nervous because she's more professional than I am.
Well, that goes without saying.
Thank you for listening on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, your favorite podcast provider.
Yep.
Thanks for following us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everything else.
Is so true. And before we get to our guest,
oh man,
that's right here. We have a very special installment of Who Said It?
Uh-oh, we don't have our
Do
sound
you have
effect.
something for that?
Which
you gotta
one was
find,
it?
I don't
was
think
it
we
the
have
drum
one.
roll or what? Huh?
I don't think we have one for this, but you can make one.
And now, the Ronnie and Bo Who Said It?
Yes, and this is actually ties into our guest today.
Well, this phrase was inspired by our guest.
Right, so in this...
only because our guest is female.
Right, exactly. That's the only
Should we just get into it?
We're
nervous.
Forget this stuff. Leza!
No!
Lisa's with us. Come on.
Oh, man.
Come on.
I want to know who
Lisa's
said
here.
it. I want to know what they said and who said it.
Well, we want to bring you in.
We
Thank
gotta
you.
get
so you can be
in.
a part of this. This is
Because
Leza.
She's gonna all of a sudden raise our game from us.
Don't count on that.
This is super good.
We're going to include her on the Who Said It. We can't keep doing these things and then introduce her at the end.
Well,
so,
I think that's why we were awkward because it's
this is Leza Dandos.
Yes.
She's got a couple of names. One of her
does.
names is Leza Live and Local.
That's it.
Lisa
Yeah?
Live and Local.
And that's a great little
And then there's
thing.
a French version of her name, right? Which
Leza La Chapelle Dandos.
Yes.
Yep.
That was your maiden name, La Chapelle?
La Chapelle, yes.
Great. So Leza is on Magic 99.1. She is the broadcast leader in Northern Arizona.
Thank you, Bo.
Yes, absolutely. Working where she lives and being able to work in a city and an environment that you don't have to fight the rat race, and you really are a star in this town, and you're so helpful and wonderful in this community.
Yeah,
It's Leza.
Thank
Lisa,
you.
Like you introduced us.
Yeah,
did.
you remember that?
Which is super cool.
Yes, I did.
And then I call Lisa the Oprah of Northern Arizona.
You get a car and you get a car. It's more
Yeah.
like you get a pizza and you get a pizza and you get a burrito.
That's right.
That's my budget.
That's nice.
Exactly.
That's
good. You've got such a gift, and it's really like this is an honor for us to have you
well.
here, and
So,
especially as our first.
Lisa,
pleasure.
we'll ask you a lot of questions, but first let's get through Who Said It, and
Yeah.
and go ahead. And
Yep,
what
the
we do is we give out a little quote,
Yep.
and then we say who said it at the end of the podcast. So they got to wait 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So-
So who said it?
Go ahead.
Here's
Uh-oh,
today's.
do we have one of those things? No,
here's today-
never
Did
mind.
you find one?
I'm
yet?
not doing
Oh,
sound
come
effects
on.
anymore.
Please find something. I don't care.
I
even
love
if
just
it's-
sitting here and not having to do a thing.
Yeah,
This is great. Yeah,
exactly.
watching you sweat it over there.
We are sweating.
You can finally relax, and this is a high budget
Yeah, I can
sort of
tell.
thing.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Compared to your show, this is
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Who said it?
All right, here's the quote. Behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes.
Oh. And now we can't guess until the very
Well,
end.
we can. Who do you think it is?
I think it was Joan Leslie.
Shut up. Shut up.
Who's
I've got a
Joan
1940s movie poster here in the studio,
Yeah.
and she's just going to use the people in the movie.
I think it was Joan Leslie.
I think it was Edgar Buchanan.
Yeah. Anybody over 100 that's listening got that reference.
Yeah, that's
in
right.
there. So
So
behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes. That's the quote, and that's actually the truth of what's taking place right now.
I haven't rolled them once.
And
Not
we're,
once.
and we're not that great, so yeah, you're absolutely wrong.
That is true. So wait about 15 minutes, and we'll give you the
Okay,
answer
good.
to who said it.
So,
Very
Lisa,
nice.
thank you very much for stooping down to our level and coming over here.
I can't
Yeah,
believe
thank
I'm your
you.
first guest.
This
I
is
feel
so
so
exciting.
honored,
Oh, it's
really.
fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
41 podcasts, and
Yeah.
finally you're letting someone in.
Well, we
are.
didn't. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were very
But we're
self-centered and
selective.
conceited for the
I
first
think-
40.
Well, I
Yeah.
kind of
41.
said to you both, you can't be on mine again until I'm on yours. So there was a little bit of a threat there.
By the way,
There's some
Lisa's
give and
a big supporter. She actually had us as guest hosts at different times
Yeah.
On Magic 99.1. So, Lisa, it must be hard for you to walk down the road, maybe not because it's radio, or go into a supermarket or anything. I mean, you've got so many listeners on Magic 99.1.
You know what? It's funny because I don't even think about it, and more and more often, everywhere I go, people know who I am immediately, and I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised, really, because it is not really in my head. I mean, what I do is just be me on the radio for 4 hours. It's really not
a lot
that
of fun.
big of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, really, in my head. So when people are like, "Oh, I recognize your voice," or "Oh, I saw your husband the other day," and I'm like, "Who are you? And how do you know who my husband
Yeah,
is?"
that's-
So it still kind of surprises me, to be honest with you.
You know, that's interesting that you said about the voice, you know. In radio, you can be a little anonymous.
Yeah.
I talk about Ron, with Ron this, you know.
Yeah.
Ron is a pastor at Heights Church, and so he's very visible.
Yes.
People see him. People, when he walks into a restaurant, they know who he is. When I walk into a restaurant, if you're on the radio, they may recognize your voice, but they don't know who you are.
Right.
You can walk through a crowd, but occasionally radio people get spotted, right?
Right. Well, and I was on TV before I was on radio.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And I've been here in this town for, 30 years now?
That's
27,
incredible.
27 years. So I've done other things. We own a business. I have children, involved in the community in other ways. So,
Yeah.
there's really no hiding it. If they have a radio and they've turned on 99.1, they pretty much know who I am.
Right. Well, in between the live events, downtown at the Courthouse Square, or a
MC.
New Year's
A remote
Eve
broadcast.
sort of
Sure.
thing,
Yeah.
or actually one of the first I made. I was here maybe a couple of months and had been listening on the radio, but not knowing. And then went to when the hockey team
Oh, right.
was in Prescott Valley.
Yes.
I
Remember
went,
that?
and then I went, wow, the voice of this arena announcer sounds a whole lot like who I've been listening to on the radio, and then come to find out like you were doing that too.
Yes.
So-
That was a lot of fun. That was a great time.
So, tell us a little bit about. First of all, and you've got a very unique. You got demographics, right? A rock station has this type of listeners.
Right.
A beautiful music station has this type of listeners.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got a wonderful one because you have adults and children.
We do.
So you've got the
Yes.
whole car,
Yes.
And they're not fighting over you.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I'm hoping not.
No, I mean, if you're on an oldies station, then the parents are going, we're listening to this, kids, and tough luck.
Right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
everyone in the car is listening to Leza on Magic 99. So that's a really neat thing.
Well, and I'm lucky because my signal, 99.1 here in town, is so strong.
Yeah.
So I really, I
get
owe
it
a lot to that
Yes.
because I think a lot of people tune into that station because it comes in so clear and so strong, and it is local. That is the other
That's really neat.
the other big draw. So I don't take a whole lot of credit for them tuning in, but I think that all those factors.
No, I think it's great. So real quick, let me just. So you got to Prescott somehow
Yes, I met Scott Dandos in college.
in college at where? Where
at
were you?
ASU.
You were at
Arizona
ASU.
State at the Walter Cronkite School of Broadcast Journalism.
Oh, wow.
And was
I
he-
am a real professional.
Nice. And that's the way it is. So, and his family was here? Is that
Yeah,
how you got
yes,
here?
he
So
grew
you,
up here.
Boyfriend, girlfriend, engaged, married, and so you're
Exactly.
going to migrate into his side or whatever, into
Yes.
his home.
I
turf.
graduated in December, and I got married in February and moved to Prescott.
Wonderful.
So whole new
Wonderful.
world, whole new
Wonderful.
life. Yeah,
That's amazing.
and I've been here for 27 years.
And I
That's
love
great.
Scott. Scott's such a great
Yes, he
guy,
is.
and tell us what he does.
Well, we own Prescott Glass and Mirror,
Yeah.
and we were approached by the owner to buy it. Scott managed it in high school.
Wow.
And we weren't the top of the list. We were the second people. And Scott was a realtor. And we said, heck, if we're going to make it here in this small town, let's buy this business.
Wow.
And so we've owned it now for 25 years. And it's open Monday through Friday. So it hasn't owned us. We own it.
That's so
type
great.
Type
I've
of
taken
business.
2 of my cars there for
Thank you.
windshield replacement
Yes.
stuff. And even that was super helpful. And
We
just Scott
appreciate
is
it.
like one of my favorite people.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
when you get a chip in your window, we call them. And, I don't know much about Arizona insurance, but we all have that window repair stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not extra or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess I didn't know this, but I guess in the state of Arizona, unlike other states, you're allowed to pick who you want to. You're not
Yes.
forced by the insurance person to go to that place.
Yeah.
Other states run it differently. And so we learned that, and we call Scott, and if we got a little chip or one of those cracks, it goes in, the insurance covers it, and he does it. And
appreciate
they're
that.
wonderful. As a matter of fact, I've got some. You don't know this, and Scott knows this, but I'm going to do some interior remodeling.
Oh, yeah.
And I need to take, this is a small thing, but I need to take my master mirror down. And so he's glass and mirror. And so, you sit there and you say, okay, it's got a couple of screws and it's got some glue. Maybe you get 2 or 3 people and you yank at it and you crack it. You pull it out, you break it and you get killed.
And then bad luck too,
Right.
Bo.
And
That's
call a
no
professional.
That's
call,
right.
Call the
And
professional.
so Scott and I talked the other day, and he's going to come over and just remove it, and then we're going to do some work on the drywall, and then he's going to put it back in.
I want to let you know that business has been there since not in that location, but been in Prescott since 1927.
That's fantastic.
That is
incredible.
amazing that a small business like that has lasted that long.
That's amazing. Yeah, in a town like this too,
Right.
like so many things come and go, and
Yes.
it's so cool to see those ones that really last. And
Yes.
that's a testimony to the business that's
Right.
going on. I was in his shop one time, just chatting, and a snow plow came by. And it shoots the snow right up on the window.
Right.
And it had blown out the window.
Yeah.
Of the place, of
but
his
then
business.
But I was wondering then, like maybe that was a setup.
Well, maybe,
Because
maybe I don't know.
can charge
Was he
to
showing
replace
off?
his
Watch,
own
I'll show you.
glass,
That's
I'll show you how it's
funny.
done.
But
Yeah.
no, that was even just he rolled his eyes and just went, this is
We're right
what
there
we
on
have to deal
Sheldon
with.
Street. So, we're right there on the main thoroughfare.
So that's great. So you start your family here. You have
Yes.
2 daughters,
Yes.
and then you decide that you want to do some broadcasting of some sort, any sort.
Well, I got
and
a job when I first moved here at KUSK TV, and
where was that?
That is still here. It's
Okay.
AZTV now.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
gotcha.
but it didn't have the Phoenix signal. It was
Okay.
just over the air.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got a job there, and I have a degree, a bachelor's degree, and they put me in master control. So I'm putting the commercials in, and
Running
working
the
the
board.
overnight, running the board. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you
This is behind
foot
the
in the
scenes
door.
stuff at the first
Absolutely,
first
foot in the
part,
door.
yeah.
And the vice president of the company asked me one day, well, what do you want to do, in this business? And I said, well, I want to be a broadcaster. I want to anchor the news.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be. Diane Sawyer,
Yeah.
Katie
Neat.
Couric. That's me, And she's like, okay, then. And the next thing I knew, I was in a whole new, I was production manager, I was editing, I was shooting commercials, I was anchoring the Take 5 newscast, 5-minute newscast. It aired twice a night, weekday nights. And I wrote the news. I waited for the news to come in, soft news, in snail mail. Like we had no
wow.
internet.
Right.
I'm really aging myself here, but we had no internet, so we just, we waited for the events calendar to come in the mail, and that's what I reported on. And it was. I did it all.
That
Perfect
is
job
fun.
out of college
Now,
because
it
I'd
didn't
learned
have
how to do it all.
It didn't have a teleprompter, so
It did have a teleprompter.
did?
Yes.
I was over there with Tanya Mock, and they didn't have a teleprompter
Well, back
in
then,
these days.
I
so
had
you
a
did.
teleprompter,
Oh, so
yeah.
that's a little easier.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're first starting out,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, it's a real
I'm
nice.
a pro at the teleprompter.
Are you?
Yeah. Just
Did
test me anytime.
anybody do any teleprompter jokes, like rewind it and have the paper go out, or,
No,
or
'cause
put some word in there?
It was recorded. It was recorded, so it wasn't live. So you could get away with
okay,
it.
okay.
But I did the weather. Like I started doing the weather before I was the actual anchor, and I'm like
So-
in front of the green screen, and just
man,
you've
yeah.
So
seen it on TV.
looking back, how many years ago do you think that was when you were starting? More than 10?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
because
so-
I've been in radio for 15.
Okay.
So
So-
it was before I had children, and they're 21.
So
Yeah.
looking back, what are some of your memories of that? I mean, when you were doing it, you're saying, "I'm the best. Look at me. I'm doing this. I'm getting better. This is a great opportunity." Looking back, do you
Right.
say, "Oh boy, look at my hair. Was I green? Look at the styles, the clothing style." Do you look back
Clothing,
at
the
anything?
jewelry, the hair, all of it, all of
all-
it. And it just makes me so happy I'm in radio because I don't want to deal with all that stuff. It was kind of silly, to be
Yeah.
honest. How much we focus so much on the the appearance of
appearance of the
television.
newscaster.
Have to
Yeah.
in
Instead of
that
the news,
side of it.
yeah. Right.
So between the two, having
Yeah.
done radio now and
Yeah.
then having done TV before, do you have a preference
Oh,
or things that you like better about
Yeah,
one
I'm
about
right.
the other?
I'm right where I want to be.
Awesome.
There's no structure. TV is it was so sterile. It was so scripted. Radio is so spontaneous.
fluid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just ad libbing, and you do it. You take it. It goes wherever it wants to go.
Right.
There's no. I don't sit down and go, okay, we're going to talk about this and this and this. You
Right.
just sit down and you just start talking, and then it just morphs into whatever
Yeah.
it's going
Well,
to be.
it's
Yeah.
like the movie industry. Everybody wants to be a movie star. And it takes, a DJ, you and I have talked about this. A DJ, you walk in the studio, you turn the mic on, you sit down, and you're going.
Right.
And you're flying the plane.
Yeah.
A movie, I'm going to be an actress, and I'm going to be in that hour-and-a-half movie.
Right.
It takes you 10 months to
Yeah.
make that hour and a half. And it's
Right.
just horribly, painstakingly,
Yeah.
if you're impatient, it's terrible.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And radio wasn't even on my radar when I, decided to get a
Really?
degree in broadcasting. Didn't even consider it. And it's kind of interesting because how I got into it, I applied for a job as an afternoon news person at Magic when it was Soft Rock Let's Talk. So this was
Oh, wow.
15 years ago when my kids were in school full time. So Delaney was off to kindergarten. Mom needs to do something other than clean the house. So I wanted to get back into what I, love
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
So I applied for this, afternoon news radio gig. And that turned...
You had experience, news experience.
Exactly,
Coming
I
from
had-
the TV, you're a big shot coming over there.
Exactly, and I'm like, this will be fun. Well, then they asked me, would you consider doing a morning show? And I'm like, I don't know the first thing. I mean, I know how to read a script on the
the
air.
news.
And they said, just be yourself. Just get on there and be yourself. And I thought, oh,
I think, and that's to
That's
me
crazy.
like the whole talk about magic 99. That's your magic, Leza. Is just who you are is already this like really magnetic, contagious personality.
Aw,
That's
thank you.
like people are really drawn to it, and it's that's huge. I mean, over the airwaves to be able to kind of
Right.
when we listen when we're driving in the morning on the way to school
Right.
and cracking up and
Well, in radio, you want to brand the radio station, right?
Yeah,
You
right.
want to be a better brand than the other radio
Yeah.
stations. And in the radio station brand, you want to brand your personalities.
Yeah.
And you've done that very well, and you've done that. You've accomplished that. And then what happens is you become very valuable to the company. And then
I hope so.
I know so. And then because you've shared yourself, you've created these relationships, and so it's very good, and it's very hard for them to separate that now. And that's and then that's great. It's a testament to your work. Your hard work and your.
I've found that people can get music anywhere anymore.
That's
Anywhere.
right.
On our watches, on our phones, and so I have to, every day I have a challenge. Why would they want to tune into me other than listen to, this podcast or not your podcast specifically?
I know.
Why? And so it's
Is
like,
she saying we need to play music or what? Huh? I don't know what she just said.
And
that's the challenge, trying to make it something, other than just music that you can get anywhere.
Well,
And so,
in the old days, and even in the new days of radio, when you had two top 40 stations battling it out, or two, or three country stations battling it out, you can do the same. You're going to play the same music,
Right.
The same Kenny Chesney album is going to be on all three stations. So
Right.
how are you going to win the listeners?
Yeah.
You can't. You can't duplicate Rick Dees.
right.
Right.
So Rick Dees is gonna. You can't. You and I could buy a radio station. We could put a female morning person
Right.
on that radio station, but you can't duplicate Leza.
Right.
And so that's very important, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you could duplicate the jingles. You can duplicate the sweepers,
Right.
the sayings. You can duplicate all that stuff, but you can't duplicate the personality. There's only one Leza, and that's very smart, and that's a good approach to do.
Leza,
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you started out on Magic, were there as many kids that listened, much less called in? Because now I
Right.
feel like there's quite a few.
When I first started, it was Soft Rock, Let's Talk. I'm
Okay.
talking Barry Manilow.
Okay.
So
You know,
it was
I mean,
office listening.
So yeah, it was background music, and they didn't want us to talk a whole lot, and we
Yeah.
were kind of offended by that,
Yeah, yeah.
And so no, this is just amazing. The kids calling in, and they
love
get
that.
so much joy out of hearing themselves on the radio. I get it. I was that kid. I called the DJ. I wanted to hear myself
Right.
on the radio as a kid. I was always fascinated by it. So that is one of the biggest joys of my job.
Yeah, it's so
is
cool because you're
those
really
calls.
sweet with them and you get them. But I've heard them call in from a school bus.
Yes.
And you can hear all the kids requesting a song or saying hey, and you doing shout outs to them. And that
super
is the
fun.
best.
Super fun. That's small town radio right there. You
it's
know,
neat.
I love that stuff.
So I worked with you for a couple of years, and you get side jobs or side opportunities or whatever you want to call them. And you mentioned it earlier on. You work in the at the time Tim's Toyota Center. Now it's the Prescott Valley Event Center.
Right.
And you did the hockey period.
Yes.
Before
I was the arena host. Arena host.
How was that? That was exciting, right?
Yeah, that was a cool thing.
Yeah.
That was really cool because I got to do what I do on the radio, but live and in person. It really stretched my, I don't know, it really challenged me because I was out there and they gave me so much freedom to come up with the games and do whatever I wanted.
So you came up with the
I
games
did
and
all
everything.
that.
Wow.
So it was a lot of work,
That's awesome.
but it was so much fun. And we had 44 games a year. So it was a lot.
A lot of work.
It was a lot, but it was a great gig, and I really had appreciated doing that.
Have you seen her in the stand? Have you ever seen her?
Yeah.
So I've seen her. I've worked with her. It's just so much fun. I mean, she's the one on the floor saying, "Okay, these two contestants, come on down. We're going to do this at the timeout break or whatever."
And actually, when that team went away, they were looking for a new in-arena host for the Phoenix Suns, and I'm like, "Oh man, I got to get this job."
Yeah.
So I had to do a video audition, and I really wanted it. I really thought this would be so much fun for me, even though it's in Phoenix and there's so many games. And I didn't get it. I didn't even get a call. I mean, but that was cool too. That it was like maybe I could make this into something, and it actually worked out for the best.
But you probably had video, right? If I recall,
Yeah,
didn't you have video of the Tim's Toyota Center stuff? So you had a what do you call that? A
resume tape.
a video. You could submit the tape and
Exactly.
say, "Hey, I'm doing it."
That's what I did. I submitted the tape,
that's great.
and so that was fun too, just
That's
to kind of
cool.
think about, wow, what else could I do? You know?
Yeah, that's neat. Those things, for folks like us, it's the creative juices, right? It's just let's apply for it because we want the job, but let's apply for it because it's fun just to be creative, to figure out how I'm going to put it together to send the sales pitch, so to speak.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Leza, when you're not on air, what's the stuff that you like doing?
Oh man, there's a lot. I love to golf. I've recently picked up golf,
wow.
and
That'll be a time suck. You're stuck there.
Well, the thing is, I'm
You
done
get
with
addicted.
work by 11 a.m.
You've got a day ahead.
and everybody else is still working, so you got to find things that you can do by yourself.
Right.
So I love to golf, and I love to paddleboard, and I love to mountain bike, and so
such a
really
good
anything
community for
outside.
that.
Yes, our community is great, and I love to shop, and I love to do everything. I love to read.
Yep.
So just normal girl, just
Yeah.
out doing my thing.
That's
So, what are some of the? Do you have any highlights? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you have any? Anything come to mind, positive or negative, during your work? I mean, like, I had a bad interview, or boy, that boss sucked, or
Wow.
boy, did
I've had lots of sucky bosses, as you know.
well, then
You
we
had
won't-
the same ones.
So no, but I mean, is there anything or man, I got to meet this person that I would have never
I
met
know.
if I was a grocery store
I
clerk.
know
or
where
anything?
this is going.
Yeah, do
He's-
you?
No, I
he's
do.
leading
No, I
you.
do. No.
Yeah?
No. I have one thing in my pocket, but
You share with me. What?
Well, no, I was just wondering if there's
mean-
nothing specific. I put you on the spot with that question, but I mean,
Yeah.
you just say, gosh, I remember 4 years ago I did that thing, or okay, never mind.
Yeah, nothing that
I
comes
wasn't
right
setting
to
you-
my mind.
Okay,
I mean, I've
it's
had
hard
some.
to ask
I've
on
had,
the spot.
Having Tony Tennille on was so much fun.
There you go, something like that. Those are
and
fun.
she sang
Cool.
with me, and
Oh,
I
man.
have the worst singing voice. I sing on the radio all the time. My kids actually, when they were in school here, made me sign a contract that I wouldn't sing on the radio because I embarrassed them.
that's
You know?
Now that they're away
now that
at
they're away,
college,
it's
you can-
all
So,
but,
so Tony,
that was fun.
So Tony Tennille is in our community.
Yes.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, they retired. Tony Tennille of Captain and Tennille. They had a very big hit in the mid '70s with "Love Will Keep Us Back Together," and then many other songs.
Love.
Do That to Me One More Time.
Yeah.
Tony Tennille wrote that about her husband, and
That's the one we
wrote-
sang together. I'm
wrote-
like,
wrote it
we
all
should have
by
picked
herself.
something. We should have sang "Love Will Keep Us Together."
Yeah,
because
there
"Do That to Me One More Time" was awkward.
That's
No. But that was such a significant song.
Yes,
she
and that's
wrote
why
that,
she picked it.
and it became a number one. It was hugely significant for her and for her career. And if I'm not mistaken, they were doing the grind in the music industry in Los Angeles, and they eventually got to a place where they retired to, I want to say Reno, and maybe outside of Reno, the Reno area.
Yeah.
And everybody was all excited. Hey, you know who lives? You know, because people just get excited like that.
Right,
And
right.
then I guess they got tired, or Reno got too big or something. And it's
here.
my impression they moved here.
Yeah.
so
Why are we talking about her when I'm here? I'm just curious.
Sorry, yeah. Tony Tennille
Sorry, Tony.
never did the news on KUSPV
KUSK.
Flag.com. Huh? Okay. KUSK Cusk. Cusk Country.
That's it.
And now the Cusk News.
Oh, you forgot your medicine this morning.
okay, so-
bring it back.
So then let's go to the Arizona Centennial celebration.
Oh my gosh.
And instead of setting it up, I'm going to go right to the punch.
Yeah.
Kissing Wayne Newton.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't kiss him. He kissed me. There's picture.
Is there
There's
a
picture
difference,
for
Leza?
yes,
Is there
because
really a difference?
And how do you know? When you're looking at a picture, how do you know who kissed who? By the reaction
he's
in
got
the
his
eyes?
hands on my
in the
face.
eyes?
Oh, okay.
he has his hands.
That's a point.
He grabbed my face and pulled it in.
Oh,
That was
And
so
he's
cool.
shiny. He's super
He
shiny.
looks leathery
Yeah,
to
yeah.
me in photos.
Very,
yeah.
very shiny, and that's so funny. I forgot about that. But it was a meet and greet, and we're greeting. And he put his hands on my face and pulled my lips right into his, and I was like,
man.
"Wow!"
Dankeschön, my darling.
He broke right out into song afterwards. That was what he did.
Man.
That's funny. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. All right, let's do.
That's a good moment.
Let's do. Do we have any other questions for you? I want to do a little game. Go ahead.
No, I think it's time for the game.
Do you want to do that?
I do. There's a game it's popular.
Yeah.
2 truths and a lie.
Okay.
And so basically, we're gonna come up with 3 statements.
Okay.
One of them is a lie.
Okay.
And the other 2 are true.
Perfect.
And so we'll go ahead and just
We'll try to figure out her lie.
the lie.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're gonna give us- so can you- about you.
Do you want to play
Okay.
too, Bo? Are we all in on this?
Yeah,
All right.
okay,
But
we'll
let's
get
go
to
with Leza first.
Okay.
So we're going to ask 2. So you give us 3 statements.
right.
2 are true and 1 is a lie. And Ronnie and I are going to guess it right
Okay.
away,
All right.
instantly. We're so smart.
Okay.
We're
And
so
there's no
good.
judging. There's no judging.
No.
Oh, yeah. That's a judge.
Especially from you, Pastor Ron, on this one, because this one might surprise you.
Wait a minute. We're not
Well, a
playing.
couple of
Wait,
them
wait a
might.
minute. We're not
Yes.
playing Truth or Dare. Go ahead.
Okay, so when I was young and I learned about the Immaculate Conception, I was so worried that I would be chosen by God to be the next mother of Christ. I'm not kidding. That might be truth, that might be lie, but that is something that
You had a little guilt.
yeah.
All right.
No, there was
Fear.
no guilt. No,
Fear or
I'm talking,
something.
I'm talking a child. Like
Okay.
I was probably 11, so or maybe younger than that, because I was like, how will they ever believe if that is what happens?
Oh, so in
how
other
did
words-
they believe
oh, I
Mary
see.
when
So
she
you-
said that she was
So
impregnated
you're
by
having
God?
this. So you're having this huge inner dialogue going. If
If
I
that
come
happens to me-
home from junior high or high school, my parents are going to kill me. But no, honest, it was
God.
It was God.
Yeah,
I promise.
I think teenagers have used that excuse in the past.
I want to make
was
it clear.
Immaculate Conception.
I was not a teenager and I was not sexually active. I was a real concern of mine.
All right,
maybe
so-
or maybe not, since this is 2 truths, 1 lie.
Okay.
Okay,
So
all
that's one statement. What's
Okay.
another statement?
I was on my
That's
high
got to be
school
made up. Go ahead.
football team. I was on my high school football team.
You were on your high school football team.
Yep.
All right. All right.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
we'll digest it in a minute. Give us
Okay.
a third statement.
One of my very first radio broadcasting gigs, I actually did a voiceover for feminine hygiene products.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'm hoping now.
Awesome.
See, now I'm hoping.
I'll give you a
which
little.
one's lie.
I'll give you a
Oh,
little
my
taste
gosh.
of it. When I need to feel a little more fresh, I turn to Massengale.
Now, see,
Yeah,
I
that's
think-
what it sounded
I think-
like.
Now we haven't conferred and we haven't given the answer.
Yeah.
But I think that one's a lie. And the reason I think that's a lie is because she added a little more to convince us that it may be
I
true.
don't know.
But I don't know.
Immaculate Conception. So either there's the
She had
the
a
childhood fear
of
being the next participant in the Immaculate
I'm
Conception.
glad
That's
the
a
pastor-
game show we do not want.
I'm glad
to
the
be
pastor is wording that. You know,
Right.
we would stumble for hours.
Right.
Or
Or-
she was on her high school football team.
Correct.
Now, see,
Or-
that's interesting because we're discussing this.
Okay, that's
the
fine.
judges are
Take your
discussing
time.
it.
We have nothing
Do
but
we have
time.
to agree?
No, well,
okay.
but I'm just thinking. See, if she says that, she could be the water girl, and that she would technically be on the team.
Oh, that's
or
true.
you're thinking that she padded up and she was she
Yeah.
was the kicker. She
That's
could
true.
maybe she was a great soccer player, and
That's
maybe she
true.
ended up being transferred to the kicker, or
Right.
anyways, or maybe. After the play, when everybody was on the ground, she got up and jumped on him and was on her football team. I don't know, or maybe she yelled.
Visual on that one was.
Or maybe she yelled at him all the way to the
Right.
parking lot. She was on her football team.
Oh,
you know?
wow, you're really dissecting this
Man,
one.
yeah,
They're making it more confusing.
So which one do you think is the truth? Do you think?
I think I know one.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it. I think personally I know one that is the truth.
Okay.
So I've got two to choose from.
Okay.
Shoot. I had shared that one with
Okay,
you.
I'm gonna
gonna-
say which one is false.
Okay, so the
do you
lie
have yours?
is,
Do you
from your
have yours
perspective,
first? Do you have yours first before I taint your response?
I have a guess. I honestly do not know. You've stumped
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
So I am what I'm gonna guess is truly a guess.
Okay, so this is her lie according to Ron.
The lie is the Immaculate Conception fear.
That's your lie. Okay, I
Okay.
think you're lying about pitching on the radio feminine products. Those are the two that we think you're lying about.
Okay.
So now, can you tell? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So you tell us the lie.
Okay.
Yeah. Which one is the lie?
The lie is that I pitched for Massengale on the radio. Yes, I was the water girl on the football team, and I did really
You had
have
that
the fear of.
I remember that
Yeah,
one.
man.
I
You told me
I,
that.
I shared that with you before. Shoot, I wish I'd remembered that I told you that.
I never had that fear, but now I do.
Yeah.
Ironically, which is even more weird. I'm worried now I'm going to be immaculate.
See, and
conceived.
at this point, it's like, oh, I dissect this
Right.
because I'm like, I must have really thought a lot of myself at that age to think that God would choose me to be the next mother
Right.
of
Well,
God.
but that's okay. That's
You know,
that's true.
I mean, I don't have a confidence problem, so I guess
No?
that's what you take from that on a positive sense.
But you could also say that it's a defense, you know?
Yeah.
No, mom and dad, I wasn't, it just happened until they come out redheaded with freckles. And then, I don't think that's the son of God.
That is
But
too
you
good.
know more than that.
That is
Isn't
too
that
good.
funny?
And then what was the other one? Oh, you were the water.
Yeah, I was the water girl
Girl
on
on
our
the
high
team.
school football
Okay.
team. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So good job on that one.
Well,
You
thank
figured
you
that
very
one
much.
out.
Yeah. So that's how we play two truths and a
I
lie.
like it. I
Right.
like it.
Hey, Leza, thanks for coming by and being on the show. We really appreciate you participating
My
in our
pleasure.
podcast, you know?
My play.
Yeah?
You're such a gift and blessing to our community, and like we said, this for us to be the first guest that we've had is like really a huge honor. So
You guys
thank
are so kind. Thank you for
thank
all the kind words and having me on. And you're welcome on my show anytime you want to come on.
Awesome.
Anytime.
Awesome. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll be on tomorrow.
Okay.
We have, but we got to give the answer to
Oh, that's
who
right.
said it.
Uh-oh.
And so the quote was, behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes. So you've had a little time to think about it. Do you want to change your answer from
From Joan
Joan
Leslie.
Leslie?
Let me think. Okay, so it was a great
Or-
man.
or-
She's
or-
rolling her eyes. Was that Barbara Bush?
That's a good guess.
That's a
That's a good guess.
Yeah, no, it wasn't
that
Barbara
is
Bush.
not the
No.
answer.
Yeah.
No, and I've learned I don't take the bait. When he asked me, do I want to guess? No.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So-
And there's no way. Honestly, this one,
It's hard.
there's no
You,
way.
you try. Sometimes you're not going to be able to guess, but sometimes you try to figure out the genre or,
Right.
or the type of
That was
person. would
something
say.
Barbara
Yeah.
Bush would say.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know?
That's right.
So who
Yeah.
said
Okay.
it?
Who was it?
So who said it was Jim Carrey?
Unbelievable.
Jim Carrey. So it's a comedic
Yeah, that's
line
cute.
and
Reference, okay.
And so thanks, Jim. We
Yes.
appreciate that.
Hey, by the way, we gave Leza a T-shirt and a hat, I think, right?
They're in my car. I was supposed to wear them. I forgot. I got
That's
the memo.
okay.
Both
This is
said,
audio.
be
This
sure
is
you
audio.
wear. But he sent me a memo and said, be sure you wear the swag to be on the
Awesome.
show. So I failed you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to point that out to make everybody jealous. We're now charging for the swag.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I got in before you.
we're peddling it out of our
We have
garage.
We have a truckload unpurchased ones that are sitting here that it would be easy just to pull out before you
we
leave.
are selling Ronnie and Bo hats and T-shirts on our Facebook shop. If you guys want one, just click on the Facebook shop and we'll get it to you.
We'll get it to you because Bo rides up on a horse without a shirt and delivers it himself, which maybe is the reason why nobody's
possibly.
Or maybe for some creepers, that's the reason they are going to purchase them.
Want to thank Prescott Realty. Can you believe we got a sponsor, Leza?
I think it's great. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're very excited. You know, Leza does what they call testimonials or personal commercials on Magic 90. Endorsements or testimonials. They're called a couple things. And that's where you talk about these people. And we're talking about Prescott Realty. And it's a real fun thing to do. And you gain a relationship with these people like you and I have. But Prescott Realty is the sponsor of the Ronnie and Bo Show. And you can get a hold of them by calling them at 928-851-4500.
And if you are a first-time home buyer, then they have a first-time home buyer specialist named Kylie Elliott, and she would be happy to help you out. So just reach out to them. Speaking of endorsements, I mean, I used them to sell our home and purchase the one that we moved into a year and a half ago, and they were amazing. So
we're really thrilled with Prescott Realty. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. Okay, so we're about to wrap it up. You're at a radio station. You have jingles. You know, people that you pay to have people sing your logos or whatever you want. And you have a big voice guy. You know, right? I mean, that's what a radio station's all about.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
Ronnie and Bo have a big voice guy.
Ooh.
We just got one.
Nice.
Listen to this.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to the Ronnie and Bo Show, available on your favorite podcast provider. Please connect with the Ronnie and Bo Show on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and RonnieandBoShow.com. Send comments to RonnieandBoShow@gmail.com. This is your announcer speaking. I'm Shotgun Tom Kelly.